It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of July 2nd, 1993. Only three movies to look at today, and three notable movies, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Tom Cruise in the film adaptation of John Grisham's best-selling novel, The Firm.
I want to start by telling you that Bendini, Lambert & Locke is a small firm, 41 lawyers and all. But I prefer to think of us as a family. And like most families, loyalty is what we value more than just about anything. Now, the letter you got from us was the only one sent out. Because you're the only one we want. We've taken your highest offer to date and added 20%, and we'll guarantee a 10% increase the second year. It may interest you to know that most of our clients are very wealthy. Poor people rarely have tax problems. It's one of the few advantages of being poor. You should also know that many of our partners are millionaires by the time they're 45. Our offer includes a bonus schedule, a low-interest mortgage for the purchase of a new home, and the lease of a new Mercedes. Your wife can choose the color. We have faith that you're going to be with us for a long, long time, Mitch. Fact is, nobody has ever left us. Nobody.
So, believe it or not, this was actually the first adaptation of a John Grisham novel that actually was made. Of course, we get several more after this, including another one that came out at the end of the year with The Pelican Brief. But, like I said before, this was a movie that was a big success when it came out. Tom Cruise in it, of course, it went on to become one of the biggest hits of the summer, grossing $270 million over a budget of $42 million. And it's a very good movie. It's a very good legal thriller. Tom Cruise does a very good job in this movie. It's a great cast overall. You got Gene Triplehorn, Gene Hackman, Ed Harris. In the teaser, you hear Hal Holbrook. By the way, that teaser is really good. I missed those days when teasers like that were so good. But like I said, he's in there. Ed Harris is in here. Did I mention Holly Hunter already? I think I did. If I didn't, Holly Hunter's also in here. Hal Holbrook, like I said, David Strathairn, Gary Busey. Just a great cast overall here. It's a very well-made movie. It's a great adaptation of the book. A great script overall. Robert Towne co-wrote this with David Ray, David Raphael. It's just a great movie, and Tom Cruise really does show a lot of his potential as a leading actor in this movie. And this came right after he did A Few Good Men, and it's a shame he didn't get nominated too, because he's legitimately really good in this movie. Like, this is a really good Oscar-worthy performance. The score by Dave Grusin is very good. Dave Grusin is, of course, the guy that's best known for his work on the theme to Saint Elsewhere. I was surprised Holly Hunter got nominated for this role. It was actually one of two nominations she got that year. The other one she won for The Piano. That was Best Actress. She was nominated here for Best Supporting Actress. And it's just a very good movie. It's a very good legal thriller. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. Does a very good job of working with these performances all around. And it's just an overall very good movie. It's a good crowd-pleasing movie that's also a very good mystery, a very good intense thriller. It's a very solid movie all around. What more can I say? It's just a really great film. Can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen The Firm, definitely go check it out. You're doing yourself a huge disservice by not doing so. With that said, on to the next movie, and it's another movie that you should have already seen by now. It's the re-release of Walt Disney's first animated motion picture, and that is, of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
The greatest animated motion picture of all time is back in theaters.
How do you do?
How do you do? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
The Queen, Snow White. I will fight.
We gotta save her! summer, come celebrate the wonder, the romance, and the magic of Walt Disney's all-time classic.
We will live happily ever after.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, still the fairest of them all.
Once again, just another fantastic trailer, and when you also consider that this particular re-release of Snow White was the last major Disney re-release when they were still doing the thing every year where they re-release a couple of their movies. This was actually one of the last ones they did before they would do it sporadically. I think although I guess you could technically say that what they did with The Lion King the year after was kind of another one of those situations, but that movie came out within the same year, so I don't really count that. They wouldn't do another re-release like this until Oliver and Company 3 years later. And what's interesting about this particular re-release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, this actually became the first film that Disney scanned on digital files. They manipulated it and recorded it back to the film, and the restoration process was carried out entirely at 4K resolution and 10-bit color depth using the Cineon system, I think it's how you pronounce it. Cineon, I believe that's it. And they did that to remove like dirt and scratches all around, so it's a very interesting little piece of history there. And I mean, really, there's nothing really more you could say about this movie that hasn't already been said. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's a movie that I checked out again recently. I think I actually checked it out last time I did was around the start of the pandemic, when I was just going on to Disney Plus and just watching all the Disney animated movies from the beginning to now. And it really is a movie that still holds up to this very day. The animation overall is still fantastic to look at. This is a movie that's over 85 years old at this point, and it still looks fantastic. It still looks like a well-made movie all around. The voice work overall is still very well done. The songs are still very memorable. The characters are all memorable. It's just a great, great movie. It's a movie that has held up very well over time. It's a movie you can keep going back to over and over again. You never get tired of it. It's, granted, it's not one of the best movies that Disney has ever done, but you know what? I would have loved to see this on a big screen. I really would have liked to see what this movie would have looked like on a big screen, because the only time I've ever seen this movie is on my television or when I'm watching it on the phone that I'm actually using right now whenever I have to go to Disney Plus. But it still would have been nice to see this on the big screen. And I know that by this point VHS was becoming more of the demand, and Disney for the longest time was like, they were sticking to the 7-year rule that they had until Pinocchio was the first VHS they had to branch out of there. Was it Pinocchio or was it Dumbo back in the 80s? I can't remember now. It was anyway, it was around that, and then finally Snow White came to video in 93, and that was kind of the end of these yearly re-releases until they would eventually do it again a couple years later, which only lasted for a couple of particular films, but we'll get to those ones when we get to those ones. Yeah, there's really nothing more I gotta say about this one. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, chances are you probably should have seen it by now. So that's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Pauly Shore in Son-in-Law.
This summer, guess who's coming to dinner? The son-in-law. Coming soon to a theater near you.
I mean, honestly, that's probably the best reaction you should have if Pauly Shore is walking up to your door. You scream at the top of your lungs because it's Pauly Shore. I mean, what the hell did you think was going to happen? So yeah, this is Son-in-Law. This is the movie where Pauly Shore is dating Carla Gugino, and and both of them go home to her parents, played by Lane Smith and Cindy Pickett, and hijinks ensue. I'll give it this: it's a better version of Why Him than the actual movie Why Him. If you don't remember Why Him, that was the one with Bryan Cranston as the father, and I think it was Zoe. It was Zoe somebody. Zoe Deutsch, I think it was. No, I gotta look it up. Yeah, it was Zoe Deutsch. She brings home James Franco as her boyfriend, and well, actually, they go to his house, and At least there isn't a scene in Son-in-Law where where somebody is getting hit by a bull covered in pee and with big balls. This is something that actually happens in Why Him, and that has a better cast in it. But man, just don't watch that movie. Just don't watch the movie. I know Bryan Cranston is in there. I know that James Franco was in there, but just don't watch it. I mean, you're better off watching this movie. And I'm saying this as this movie is not really all that good, but it's at least better than that movie. I mean, it's really not that good of a movie, like I said, but it's not the worst. I mean, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen from Pauly Shore. It's just kind of there. It's just a movie that doesn't really have a whole lot that's hilarious about it. There's nothing really all that funny about it. There's nothing really exciting about it. There's nothing really interesting about it. That overall, it's just kind of like it's there. And it's really just not it's just a movie that's just kind of there. I mean, apparently people wanted to see it because it ended up being a huge hit. It actually ended up making, about almost 5 times its budget. So I guess there was an audience for Pauly Shore back then. I mean, then again, Encino Man had just come out the year before. I don't think anybody was really excited to. I don't think anybody was just expecting to see what he was going to do next, which is pretty much play the same person in every movie that he'd star in. And, yeah, it's just not a good movie. I don't remember it being all that great, and quite frankly, I don't know why anybody else would have thought it was great either. That's pretty much all I got to say about this one. Son-in-Law. It exists. And so on that note, that wraps up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we've got 3 more movies to look at, including Clint Eastwood in The Line of Fire. We also have Daniel Stern's directorial debut, Rookie of the Year, and the sequel that everybody's been waiting for. Of course, it's Weekend at Bernie's 2. So, 3 movies to look at next time around, and we'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.